Ever wondered which top teams have taken the hard tumble from the Premier League glory to lower leagues? It's a cruel twist of fate, a stark reminder that no team is safe from the dreaded drop. In this video, we're diving deep into the recent history of the Premier League, revisiting 5 teams that experienced the bitter disappointment of relegation. We'll analyze their fall from grace, examining the key factors that led to their demise and their subsequent journeys to reclaim their place among England's elite. So buckle up, football fans, as we explore the highs and lows of these fallen giants.
Their relegation in 2017 felt like the end of an era. For years, they'd flirted with danger, pulling off great escapes with the regularity of a Houdini routine. But the magic eventually ran out. A combination of poor managerial appointments, questionable signings, and a lack of investment had taken their toll. The Stadium of Light, once a fortress of noise and passion, became a symbol of frustration and despair. The years since haven't been kind. They've been stuck in the Championship, even suffering the ignominy of relegation to League One. It's a far cry from their Premier League days, a stark reminder of how quickly fortunes can change in the world of football. S4. Sunderland. The Black Cats, a team steeped in history, a club that once graced the top flight with their presence for what seemed like an eternity. But as we all know, football can be a fickle mistress, and Sunderland's love affair with the Premier League was to end in heartbreak.
But amidst the gloom, there's a glimmer of hope. The fans, those loyal souls who have stuck by their team through thick and thin, haven't given up. They still believe in the Black Cats, still dream of a return to the promised land. And who knows? With a bit of luck, a sprinkle of magic, and maybe a new owner, perhaps Sunderland can rise again. After all, as we've seen time and time again in football, anything is possible.
Now, before we move on to our next team, let me just take a moment to encourage you all to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and leave a comment down below with your thoughts on these relegated teams. And of course, if you're enjoying the video, don't forget to share it with your fellow football fanatics. Right, on to Stoke City. Remember them? The Potters, renowned for their physical style of play and those long throws from Rory Delap. They were a tough nut to crack at their home ground, the Britannia Stadium, a place where many a team came undone on a cold, windy Tuesday night.
Stoke were a mainstay in the Premier League for a decade, consistently punching above their weight. But like a boxer past their prime, they eventually started to slow down. Relegation in 2018 was a bitter pill to swallow, a reminder that all good things must come to an end. So what went wrong? Well, a combination of factors, really. Some argue that their style of play became predictable, easy for the opposition to counter. Others point to a lack of investment in the squad, failing to keep up with the ever-increasing financial muscle of their rivals. Whatever the reason, Stoke have found themselves stuck in the Championship ever since, struggling to find their way back to the big time. The journey back to the Premier League is never easy, but I'm sure Stoke City will be hoping to rediscover their form and climb their way back up the footballing ladder soon.
Next up, we travel to the Cottagers Stadium, the home of Hull City, or the Tigers, as they're affectionately known.
Now, Hull City's time in the Premier League may have been relatively short-lived compared to some of the other teams on our list, but boy, did they leave their mark. They were the epitome of a yo-yo club, bouncing back and forth between the Premier League and the Championship with alarming regularity. In fact, they were relegated from the Premier League 3 times in the space of just 10 years.
Talk about a roller coaster ride. One minute they were celebrating promotion, the next they were staring down the barrel of relegation. It was enough to make even the most ardent Hull City fan feel a little dizzy.
But through it all, the fans remained loyal, sticking by their team through thick and thin. So, what was the reason for their turbulent time in the top flight? Well, like many others on this list, a lack of consistency was a major factor.
They often struggled to find the back of the net, and their defensive frailties were often exposed by the Premier League's more ruthless attackers. Despite their struggles, Hull City provided us with some memorable moments during their time in the Premier League.
Who can forget their FA Cup final appearance in 2014, where they pushed Arsenal all the way before eventually succumbing to a 3-2 defeat?
From the Tigers, we move on to the Baggies, West Bromwich Albion.
But love them or loathe them, there's no denying that their relegation from the Premier League in 2018 was a sad day for the club and their fans. Now, West Brom are a club that divides opinion, often seen as the epitome of a boring team, more concerned with avoiding defeat than going out to win games.
They were the masters of grinding out results, often frustrating the so-called bigger teams with their resolute defending and direct style of play. For a while, it seemed like they'd cracked the code, establishing themselves as a solid mid-table Premier League outfit.
Their more pragmatic approach, while effective for a time, became predictable and easy to counter. But as the Premier League evolved, becoming more focused on attacking football, West Brom seemed to get left behind.
They yo-yoed between the Championship and the Premier League, struggling to find a winning formula. Their relegation in 2018 was followed by a period of instability, with a carousel of managers coming and going.
It's a tough one, because West Brom have shown that they can compete at the highest level. But they need to find a way to adapt to the ever-changing demands of the Premier League if they want to avoid becoming a permanent fixture in the Championship.
And finally, we come to Fulham, the Cottagers, a team that has become synonymous with the phrase yo-yo club.
They've been promoted to and relegated from the Premier League more times than I've had hot dinners, and believe me, that's a lot.
Their most recent relegation came in 2021, bringing an end to their latest stint in the top flight.
It's a familiar story for Fulham fans, a tale of hope and despair, of exhilarating highs and crushing lows. One minute they're playing champagne football, taking on the best that the Premier League has to offer. The next they're struggling to string two passes together and leaking goals for fun.
It's enough to give you whiplash.
So what is it about Fulham that makes them so susceptible to the dreaded drop? Well, like many of the teams on our list, a lack of consistency is a major factor.
They often struggle to find a balance between attack and defence, and their squad often lacks the depth and quality to compete with the Premier League's elite. But despite their struggles, there's something endearing about Fulham.
They're a club with a rich history and a loyal fan base, and you can't help but root for them to finally break the cycle and establish themselves as a Premier League force.
So there we have it. 5 teams that have experienced the highs and lows of Premier League football. Sunderland, Stoke City, Hull City, West Bromwich Albion, and Fulham. Each team has its own story to tell, a unique set of circumstances that led to their downfall. But one thing unites them all, the relentless, unforgiving nature of the beautiful game. What are your thoughts on these relegated teams? Do you think any of them can find their way back to the Premier League? Let me know in the comments section down below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video if you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more sports insights and updates.